Probably heard horror stories about HOAs. Maybe you've got one yourself. Some people feel they just aren't transparent enough about where the money goes. But a new law signed by the governor could help, and our Diana Rocco explains why.
There are specific rules around the color of our doors, windows, like their storm doors all have to be white. It's nothing that I would say is really unreasonable.
The low HOA fee and common sense rules are what first attracted Griffin Bone and his husband to the Provincetown development in Antioch.
Our HOA fee specifically here is $150. We are seeing up to $250, and really wild almost surveillance rules.
He says the new management company has been very responsive after hearing horror stories about years past when an old company wasn't accountable for the fees they were collecting. Money went missing and homes started to fall into disrepair, forcing a $900 assessment. A new law signed by the governor now forces more accountability from HOAs, requiring them to carry blanket fidelity bonds, a type of insurance to protect against fraud or theft.
The state of Tennessee currently has more than 5,500 HOAs covering 750,000 homes, and the majority of those are concentrated right here in the Nashville area.
Definitely grass. They've trimmed some of our shrubbery for us.
But as Bone is learning, with every homeowners association for the money paid every month, homeowners would always like to see more.
It would be lovely to have green grass out here. I mean, it's springtime and it's really sparse. And that's one of those things that doesn't seem like if we're paying for that landscaping already, that doesn't seem like that hard of an ask.
In Antioch, I'm Diana Rocco, WSMV4.